again, everybody chases the money thinking, okay, that money's going to make me happier. But if you're not happy now, and even though you make $1 million, which you're probably not going to do, because only 8 out of 100 actually make it to millionaire status. But even if you do, that isn't necessarily going to make you happier. I mean, it might do they have a small correlation. I mean, basically, when you have like 1,000 a month, I think it's 13,000 years we talked about before, a person can actually be quite happy on that. Even somebody that maybe shares a room for 300 or 400 a month. I mean, with the right attitude, you actually could be happy. Of course, it'd be nicer if you have a little more than that. You live in your independent apartment. But it has to be, and it always comes back to learning how to be happy now, to that attitude, to that way you approach life. And until you get that, and until you improve your HQ that I talked about, the happiness quotient, you're not going to get that elusive happiness. It's just not going to happen. You can win the $1 million lottery, and we talked about this in the first seminar, and they did study on it too. Over 300 people that won $1 million lotteries. And 6 months to the latest, a year later, they're back to their same happiness level. And sometimes worse, because they'd gotten spoiled and they moved away from their friends, and they got used to this higher lifestyle, and then they couldn't enjoy the simple things in that too. And a lot of them became alcoholics or got into drugs and different things. It wasn't a very pretty picture. Now, the ones that were happy before they won the $1 million probably were happy after, of course. And they might have even increased their happiness level a little bit more because they gave more freedom. And they would be more appreciative of everything they got because they already were appreciative of what they had. So you have to, again, get in that state where you're happy now. So I hope that everyone here, and we want to talk about this almost every week, learn how to be happy now. Think of this as the best time, the best place to be, the best group of people to be with. You've got to kind of think along those lines. It's true, your life may get better. It may get worse. I mean, a week from now, you may have an accident. You may have a financial collapse. You may make more money. I mean, you don't know. We can't really predict that. You always only have now. And it's only now that you can feel happiness. And it's only, what you have. Again, if you haven't learned how to appreciate what you already have, you're probably not going to appreciate when you have more, because you've never learned the skill of appreciating what you already have. And that also goes back to wanting what you already have. And you remember before, we talked a little bit about it. If you really wanted something, you want to get that new car, you wanted to graduate from high school, graduate from college, you want the new relationship, whatever the new job, whatever the thing might be. Once you get that, what usually happens when you've obtained that goal? You're on to the next one, right? You're on to the next goal. You're on to, now I want a better car, or now I want a better house, or now I want to get out of this relationship. It's like you want that, you finally get it, but do you enjoy and appreciate it? Few people really actually enjoy and appreciate it when they get it. I mean, just for a short period of time, you enjoy it, and then you're on to the next. And you can talk about that. It's pretty much kind of out of sight, out of mind, not thinking about it. It's not giving you any more happiness bang for your buck. So if you do make any purchases, and this goes back to, again, to why I think that when people join this course too, they'll save money. Really think about what you purchase if it's going to give you that happiness bang for your buck. So much impulse buying that goes on in America. In fact, they push consumerism. That's what our whole economy is driven on, over 70-75%. But that isn't really what's making us happy. Our doubling our income in the last 50 years, from back in 1950 studies, now hasn't increased our happiness level. So really, when you do make that purchase, make sure it's going to give you a lot of happiness bang for your buck. You might recall the little example with my daughter over in Japan. Those of you that have gone through the seminar, where she had her allowance was $1 a week, basically. And I guess this was when she was about 6 or 7 years old, and we take her out of town, and she buys this little, it was kind of called a gyoza, kind of a rice doll. I don't know what it was. It's got a funny little face, kind of like a Cabbage Patch type doll, a little Japanese thing. And she wanted to spend her whole $6 that she's on that. And she said, "Dad, can I buy this?" I said, "Well, it's your money, you do it." And I said, "Do you think that's really going to make you happy?" She says, "I really want it, I really want it." And we tried her happiness concepts already before. And I said, "Okay, are you sure that's going to do it for you? I mean, go ahead." And she buys it. And I remember about an hour later, as we're riding back on the train going home, she's looking at the Cabbage Patch doll, just kind of sheepishly looking over at me, and she's already disappointed to realize that she's already kind of bored with it. And she knew she had blown her $6 unnecessarily. So again, the next $6 that she saved up, I said, really think now when you make this purchase. She bought a turtle, little turtle, $5.20, one of those little ones we used to have in the bowls.
A real turtle?
A real turtle, a live turtle. And she thought about it, the purchase and everything. That did give her a lot of happiness. And for quite a number of weeks, she enjoyed having it there. She fed it, whatever. She got a little bit bored of it later on, but it gave her a heck of a lot more happiness, bang for her buck, than did that, original first purchase. So we as adults need to think the same thing too. When you buy something, is it really going to give you that happiness, bang for your buck? And a lot of times, in fact, if you could buy something and keep it for a week or two and then send it back, that would really be a way to get it out of your system. And I also remember back in the seminar, I mentioned that my daughter also said she learned a lot of those happiness concepts. We didn't spoil her, even though back at the time we had made a lot of money, in millionaire status and that. But we just given a little allowance, and she wasn't able to buy a lot of the new fangled toys that came out in Japan when we were over here. So what she did, unbeknownst to us, and we really were impressed when we heard about it, she actually had some toys from America that she had, and she was exchanging her toys for a week at a time with the new toy that they got after they got a little bored with it, a week or two later. And so she was able to experience all those different toys by doing this exchange thing, get it out of her system, and didn't have to pay the money. So you can become quite creative with this once you understand these lessons of happiness and how to do it. And like I say, I really wish they would teach this from grade school on, because we'd have a lot happier kids, we'd have a lot healthier kids, we'd have a lot better adults when they reach maturity age and got into society. And we wouldn't have so much of the greedy, grabbing, all about money type of mentality. And understand, what really does bring happiness and health.